We start with Turkey, which has continued to outperform its emerging market peers in the first quarter of the year. Since the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic, the government has made sure factories keep operating, fueling an economic surge. And as Paolo Montecillo reports, the easing of social distancing restrictions is improving the outlook for the rest of the year.
Workers at one of the countless kebab joints in Istanbul are hoping for a profitable tourist season. Indoor dining has been banned since April due to the pandemic, leaving restaurants hungry for business.
Due to COVID-19 restrictions, we were solely dependent on takeaway and home deliveries. Our restaurant has lost approximately 75% of its revenue during the pandemic.
Fortunately, the table's been set for a rapid revival, mostly due to an economy that's proven resilient to the negative effects of the outbreak. Turkey's GDP grew a better-than-expected 7% in the first quarter, but that was before rising coronavirus cases forced authorities to implement strict social distancing rules in late April. Now, many of those restrictions are being relaxed, lifting the country's prospects in the coming months. Manufacturing is up 12%, leading the first quarter charge. Consumer spending has also risen 7% thanks to stimulus measures. Analysts are optimistic services will catch up as the spread of COVID-19 slows.
I will join millions of other people here in Turkey who are anxious to get back to restaurants and cafes and spend time outside. I think they're going to bounce back very quickly. I think summer is here, which is a great time for everyone to take advantage of these type of establishments.
Peaking at more than 60,000 in April, daily cases have dropped to fewer than 8,000. Part of the credit goes to the government's vaccination drive. Close to 30 million Turks have received at least one jab. And more than 12 million people, or around 15% of the population, have the full protection of 2 shots. Barring any supply issues, Turkey hopes to complete its inoculation campaign in the coming months. That would help restaurants make up for lost time by keeping their doors open. Paolo Montecillo, TRT World, Istanbul.
For more, let's go to Erhan Aslanoglu here in Istanbul. He's an economics professor at Piri Reis University. Welcome to the show, Professor. Now, many economies have struggled to grow during the pandemic. What were the driving factors for this boost in the Turkish economy?
Thank you very much. Good evening. I think there are 2 factors, basic factors for this high growth rate. One is the credit impulse of the last year in the third and second quarter of last year. The fiscal and monetary policy allowed a credit impulse in Turkey. And we feel that the spillovers of this credit impulse on the consumption demands of the Turkish households. Because we see an increase in domestic consumption demand. The second one, and maybe the most important one, is the driving force of the manufacturing industry. As we stayed at home for a long period of time, lockdowns allowed us to stay at home, and our demand for home-related goods a lot, like technological products, like furniture, like electronics, food stuff, etc. These all are related with manufacturing industry. The demand for manufacturing industry goods, both in domestic market and in foreign markets, increased. And fortunately, the Turkish manufacturing industry is very flexible and competitive, and succeed to get a share in the global markets in supply chains. And since last August, July, Turkish manufacturing industry has been growing at double digits. That has been the main force of the growth. It allowed, also it pushed investments up because the manufacturing industry firms wanted to broaden their capacity. They did some investments that also contributed to the growth rate in the first quarter. Also, the export as well as the domestic demand. I think these 2 factors, manufacturing industry's strength and the domestic demand, were the main drivers of the first quarter growth.
So let's look ahead now. The government is looking to ease restrictions, specifically the weekend lockdowns, which businesses do you think will be the biggest beneficiaries of this?
We expect services, basically, small and medium-sized firms, especially in services industries, services sectors, should gain some momentum by the ease of restrictions in the next coming weeks. And basically, as we all expect, tourism, hospitality, leisure industries, leisure sectors are expected to gain some momentum. It may take several weeks, but most probably starting after by early July, we will see more momentum in those tourism
Okay, and
related
Professor, before I let you go, I have to ask you about these external accounts. We're seeing exports rise, we're seeing a fall in imports. Do you expect that trend to continue? What does the government need to do in order to keep that balance favorable?
Yes, Turkey need to do some more things to get it sustainable. But one is realized that due to change in supply chains in the world economy after the pandemic or in the course of the pandemic, Turkish manufacturing industry gets some more share in the world markets. And I think this will be sustainable because of its competitiveness power. But in the medium and long term, we need to go in line with the new Green Deal in the world. That means our products should be in line with the new Green Deal, more environmental friendly, and we should care more about the climate change in the production of our goods to get more competitive. So we need to achieve this. And also our imports is quite high, and we pay lots of bill for energy. So Turkey should also substitute new energy sources, green energy sources, renewable energy sources with fuel energy or coal energy. So in order to get the sustainability of this trade balance to get better and better, I think for both exports and imports, Turkey should achieve the rules related with the new Green Deal in the world economy.
All right, Professor Erhan Aslanoglu, thank you very much for your input on the show.